Biggest memory I have is the Maid of the Mist. A boat ride that goes down, and it goes about as close to the falls as you can go.
Bicycle trips down to the falls around Goat Island.
My mother used to load us on the bus and take us down to Goat Island, and we'd go out on Three Sisters Island.
Taking our honeymoon in Niagara Falls.
It was definitely known as the honeymoon capital of the world at that time.
It's a wonder of the world here, and you lose sight of that because it's in your backyard.
There aren't a lot of downtowns and a lot of cities in the United States that have a wonder of the world at the end of the street.
You know, whenever you were having a boring day, there was nothing like going down to the falls.
We would go there and meet the world.
How close would you get up to the railing? It's going to be dangerous. If you get close to that edge, you're going to get sucked over.
I used to go climbing down the gorge all the time.
We used to even go swimming in the river. As a child, I was there every day, somewhere around the falls.
Love Canal was for Niagara Falls what Rock Hudson was for AIDS. That was the beginning of the unraveling of that enormously successful and profitable industry.
Piece by piece, all of these, the traditional building blocks of the old economy were swept away, and then increasingly all that was left behind were the vestiges of the former industrial plants and the brownfields where they intentionally or unintentionally sometimes deposited their waste products. We're now going to, for the foreseeable future, have to manage our soils and waters because of what's been left behind, without a lot of help, sometimes from the industries that did the original polluting.
The water's moving through the soil here. All those brownfields are a terrible legacy. All these chemicals, all these wastes get into the Niagara River, of course. That's going to spoil it, and Lake Ontario, and the St. Lawrence, and the Atlantic Ocean, because everything from here ends up there.
Everything just changed when the plants moved out.
The late 60s, early 70s, I'd say it started to deteriorate.
As the factories closed down and the industry left, everything dried up.
It's never been the same since.
Jobs got tough and couldn't find no work around, and all the young people just moved out.
There's definitely been kind of an exodus of young people. The opportunities are elsewhere. It's not even almost a choice, it's a necessity. You have to leave.
There were 104,000 people in the 50s, and now the census is below 54,000.
Most of the buildings are boarded up.
There were vacancies on Main Street.
the whole downtown section. Just a ghost town.
There's hardly any shops.
Streets are in disrepair, there's potholes everywhere.
By early 70s, they started demolishing downtown. Terrible plan. They tore every building down with no plan, and nobody ever built anything since.
We were starting to see houses that were empty.
Niagara Falls is in a major decline.
I get sad feelings about it occasionally when I drive through some of the streets where, as a young person, everything was healthy looking and the economy was good. And today, when I drive down some of those streets, I can't believe what's happened to them. It's almost dangerous to drive down some of them. Some of the worst streets in the county and maybe some of the worst streets in New York State.
Whatever there is now is mostly tourists. They come to Niagara Falls, you get a lot of them every year, but they don't stay too long. They go across on the Canadian side. There's nothing on our side to keep them here.
It's probably a dream of mine, but I would love to see it the way it used to be. It's my town. And it's still the most beautiful place in the world.
It's part Grand Canyon and part Adirondacks and part seacoast.
It has everything that made America great.
Let's rebuild it. Let's make it the jewel it should be. Let's make it the attraction it should be.
There was no place like Niagara Falls in the 60s.
When the power project was here, it was really jumping.
Optimism was prevalent in those days.
We came up because my dad was a coal miner. Mid-20s, he heard that this gold mine was in Niagara Falls where they actually offered $5 a day for a 10-hour day.
A lot of Polish people, a lot of Italian people, a lot of Jewish people. They landed here in Niagara Falls because you could work here. They worked on Buffalo Avenue, at Carborundum and at Olin Matheson and at DuPont in the big factories.
We heard the whistle blow at 4:30 at DuPont.
Being on Buffalo Avenue when the factory whistle blew at 3 o'clock to pick up my grandfather from Carborundum.
I remember every day coming down Buffalo Avenue at that time and going through the plants and to see how long you could hold your breath because of the odor coming from the plants.
In those days, we didn't know or think much about pollution.
My earliest memories of Niagara Falls are really about families.
In those days, I could name everybody on the street.
And the streets were always full of kids. Always full of kids. You'd be out playing in the street until the street lights came on.
Doors were left open. We went from one house to the other.
At each neighborhood, we were a close-knit group of people.
It was just a safe, fun place to be.
I can remember walking down any street in this city and feeling safe and proud.
You'd walk to school, you'd walk home.
And just being able to walk all around the city and not ever have to worry about anything.
It was just a lovely place to be raised and to live in.
Not every place in the world is like this.
Things are different now. You don't really see a lot of that going on in neighborhoods.
I miss the old Niagara Falls.
Niagara Falls, I remember, was a real hustle-bustle town. Everybody was making money. There was 100,000 people at the time.
Old Fall Street, the main street in the city that went right just almost to into the park by the falls, it was always busy.
So busy, quite often, that you literally could not walk on the sidewalks.
Hundreds and hundreds of people.
And there was a lot more business.
A lot of ma and pa businesses.
They had a lot of restaurants.
They had movie theaters that we used to go to.
People buying houses, buying new cars.
All little kinds of shops around.
It was a classic kind of old-style American city.
It was just a booming, booming town.
Everybody dressed up when they went to Main Street.
We had so many parades.
We would walk on the street, you didn't have enough room. It was a wonderful mix of tourism and industry.
When we had industry here, and we had the Carborundum, and we had Hooker and Union Carbide, and we had Kimberly Clark, and we had Owen Matheson, we had all kinds of people. And the cadre of people that those plants brought into town enhanced the quality of life for everybody.
That's when Niagara Falls was in its prime.
It was a terrific old town.
It was a town with future.
If you go down Niagara Street now, you cry.